game of we cheat. I have used on the map 4 colored markers. Red, China corner. Blue, transition back from China to India. Green, India corner. Black, perimeter circumference that India needs to build to further encircle the perimeter that China is trying to build. Here, from Keith Johnson's report, one of the most important things I read, or that I noted in my mind, is that these objects of go is to place stones on the open board, balancing and need to expand with the need to build protected clusters. Not only protected clusters that are clusters totally under your control, but more importantly, the quality of clusters is critical. Why is the quality of clusters critical? Because they have to match your system. You need to be able to yank that chain whenever you can. You have to ensure that there is no internal disturbances in those countries that will rupture the relationship otherwise. Unfortunately, in the circles they built around India, they have a problem because most of the pebbles they've placed or the necklace that they've created around India are diametrically opposed to what China is all about. They are democracies and deeply religious. While China continues to be a mercantilist, heartless nation, does not understand how a democracy plays. Eventually, it gets back and bites. Look at Nepal. Nepal is, in my mind today, the biggest risk for India, the biggest red. Why is it the biggest red? Because the system is very similar to China. And here, what is critical to understand is because it's a communist country, it's at risk, and it's not the encirclement that's important. It's essentially the great concept of greater Nepal that is being created by China that is a worry for us. Here, the 2 big issues for India are the Gurkhas. How will the Gurkhas play? We have to worry about those. Our biggest assets are the Mahadesis. You've got to understand they cannot be thrown under the bus, which are the plain people. What has happened to Sri Lanka, as I pointed out, has turned from red, I would say from red to blue. And this is where when I say that the clusters are not strong enough or the quality of your pebbles is not good, this is what's going to happen. The money invested, you got Hambantota port, you got the Sri Lankan Colombo port. The problem is most of us know that almost 60% of the revenue of both the ports is driven by transshipment to India, especially the Hambantota port, where 60% of it is the Hyundai car shipments coming out of the Tamil Nadu plant. We can choke that, and militarily, whatever you have in Sri Lanka is essentially of no use. You can dock your ships, but then you're open target for Indian airfields coming in from Tamil Nadu and from Andaman and Nicobar. You'll be sitting ducks and be bombed out of hell. Just remember Pearl Harbor. Now look at what's happened to Maldives. Maldives has also turned, I think, now blue. Another wasted opportunity, especially after what happened with the latest defense pact with the United States. What has happened is Maldives now is sitting fairly and squarely in India's corner. We need to do a lot more. We've given them a $750 million. We've given them a $750 million advance. There's a new ferry system that has started between Kerala and Malé. And you have India on Thursday unveiled a $500 million package to help the Maldives build a connectivity project linked capital Malé with 3 islands and provide $250 million as budgetary support to help the Indian Ocean archipelago cope with the COVID-19 crisis. A new cargo ferry service will be launched between the 2 countries, and people familiar with the development said this will help India replace other countries to become the Maldives' top trade partner. Just make sure it's not a predatory trade partner like China is with Malé. What is important is to remember the free trade agreement has been put in abeyance as far as Maldives is concerned. What was of concern to me with the FTA was not anything more than the fishing rights that I thought that were going to be taken up by the Chinese fleets to the detriment of India. Now, what India needs to do is up the ante and help Maldives improve its export, and especially in fisheries. India is a huge market, India is a huge processing market, and Maldives can play a huge role in our system. And now just take a look at this. Why Sri Lanka becomes less important after Maldives falls into India's play? Is because of the two major sealers. Everybody talks about the choke point in the Persian Gulf. Then they talk about the choke point here in the Malacca Straits. But the biggest choke point is for China is this: there is only one sea lane that goes right between the Maldives and India. Once India sits and has a relationship with Maldives, China has to then may have to if there is any problems, may have to take a longer route out of there. But there, what happens there? Then they're hit with Reunion, Diego Garcia. You got all kinds of encirclement of China. You can see that Sri Lanka has lost its role after Maldives fell into India's hands back again. What is my biggest worry at this point of time, ladies and gentlemen, is Bangladesh. Bangladesh to me continues to be blue, but India really needs to work hard, as this flurry of activities will suggest. Address Bangla issues quickly. Shimla trip made Dhaka see big picture. Delhi, Dhaka ties, India is doing well in the region. Don't view India's neighborhood policy in terms of wins or losses. Focus on the structural imperatives. Focus on Bangladesh. New Delhi must not let ties with Dhaka dip. Foreign Secretary heads for Bangladesh today. Vaccine diplomacy, India says Bangladesh to be priority recipient. Foreign Secretary Shimla calls on Bangladesh PM with Modi's message. India on project opening spree amid China's attempt to woo Dhaka. This is lucky. We need to put the full press. This is a critical country that India cannot afford to let fall out of its grasp. And you cannot let internal domestic politics that build venom against the minority rupture these relationships. Both these relationships, whether it's Maldives, which came out on the support of India as far as OIC was concerned, came out in support of India as far as the declining of the SARC meeting was concerned, both are Muslim majority nations. And India must remember that, and any domestic politics that bring the minorities into play are a detriment to India's national security. The third country that is red is Myanmar. But Myanmar also, interestingly, I will now start calling it, enough work has been done by India here, and I would start saying it's blue. I said Myanmar calls out China for arming terror groups, asks for world to help. Here again, folks, India can play a stellar role just like in Sri Lanka. We need to bring Myanmar out of the cold as with the Western nations and bring it back into play. That's the only way we can disentangle it from the Chinese. Jai Hind.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away. We have often heard this since our childhood. Our grandmas and grandpas have always taught us to adopt natural ways of nourishing our bodies. There was a time when people did not even know about the packaged pills and bottled syrups. All they had was homemade natural remedies and Nani Ma ke mashhoor nuskhe. Sada Jeevan brings back to you the times we did not rely on artificial medicines to keep our bodies going. We believe in natural herbs and homemade remedies because the body deserves only purity. Think of natural products. Think of Sada Jeevan.